It was one of those mornings where everything seemed to go wrong. The rain had been relentless since dawn, traffic was a nightmare, and Emily Carter, CEO of one of New York's fastest growing tech firms, was already 15 minutes late to her own meeting. Clutching a folder of urgent documents in one hand and a steaming cup of coffee in the other, she stormed through the glass doors of Carter Innovations. She didn't even see the janitor kneeling by the lobby's marble floor, scrubbing away at a stubborn stain. The collision was inevitable. The hot coffee splashed across his sleeve, the folder slipped from her grip, and papers fluttered like startled pigeons. "Oh my God, I'm so sorry," Emily gasped, kneeling to gather the papers. The janitor, a middle-aged man with weathered hands and tired eyes, simply smiled. "No harm done, ma'am. Just glad it didn't hit your face," he said, gently dabbing his arm with a rag. His voice was calm. Almost warm, it startled Emily. She was used to people tiptoeing around her, trying to impress her title. This man spoke to her like she was just another human being. She hurried off to her meeting, but something about him lingered in her mind. That night she replayed the scene. She'd been rushing, stressed, and messy, and yet the janitor had shown nothing but grace. The next morning she found him again. "Yesterday, I didn't even ask your name," she said. "Daniel," he replied, giving a small nod. "Been working here about 3 months. 3 months. She frowned. "I thought our cleaning company hired staff with longer rotations." Daniel chuckled. "Yeah, well, I take whatever job I can, trying to get back on my feet." It turned out Daniel had once owned a small construction company. A bad accident on site had left him with a permanent limp and medical bills that drowned his savings. His wife had passed away during the pandemic. Since then, he'd been living paycheck to paycheck, sending most of his earnings to help his daughter through college. Emily listened quietly, her coffee untouched this time. Something inside her shifted. Over the next few weeks, she made it a point to talk to him whenever she could. She learned he was a gifted woodworker, building intricate furniture in the evenings just to sell online for extra cash. One afternoon, she stopped by his tiny apartment workshop. What she saw took her breath away: carved oak chairs, hand-polished tables, each piece a masterpiece. "Daniel, these belong in galleries?" she whispered. He shrugged. "They belong wherever someone's willing to pay so I can keep my kid in school." That night, Emily couldn't sleep. She realized she had the resources, the connections, and the platform to change this man's life. And so she did. She called a friend who ran a high-end home design store in Manhattan. Within a month, Daniel's furniture was displayed in the front window, with a sign that read, "Handcrafted by Daniel Moore." Orders poured in. His story spread across social media, not because Emily took credit, but because customers were moved by the man who created beauty despite life's hardships. 6 months later, Daniel was no longer the janitor at Carter Innovations. He was the proud owner of Moore & Sons Fine Woodworks, employing 3 craftsmen and even offering apprenticeships for young people from disadvantaged backgrounds. At the grand opening of his first full showroom, Daniel stood before a small crowd. He locked eyes with Emily and said, "Sometimes the smallest accident can change the course of your life. I thought I was cleaning up spilled coffee that day, but turns out I was meeting the person who would give me back my dignity." Emily smiled, fighting back tears. Because in that moment, she knew something she'd never forget: success wasn't just about building companies. It was about building people. And sometimes, kindness is the most valuable investment you'll ever make.